enclosed trailer, which is used to, the customer uses to haul his Jeeps. And this trailer that he purchased, this is brand new, came with a drive-on ramp gate here. But unfortunately, the ramp gate just didn't hold up to the weight, and it kinked the inside. So what we're gonna do is remove all the paneling to see what's going on the inside, and more than likely going to rebuild the whole framework for this ramp out of a little more robust steel, because the side we peeled up didn't really have any heavy duty material in there. So let's strip it down and see what we have. Start by taking off the fold-up ramp, the trim, taking the rubber mat off. Then I had to undo a bunch of screws here to get the plywood off. Then I went to the inside and started taking off the cover for the spring. And as it was taken off, found some problems here, so the wiring needed to be repaired. So you can see the lights flickering on and off as I'm re-splicing and testing. Electrical is fixed, plywood removed. Just taking a closer look, figuring out how to take off the white panels. Continued pulling the rest of the exterior trim and lights off. Picking up where I left off yesterday, I got everything stripped off, and the only thing that I didn't have on video was taking off the white panels, just because I wasn't sure how I wanted to do it, because as you can see, they had glued these four members. And so actually what I ended up doing was just taking a butane torch and heating up a putty knife and running that under. It worked pretty well, because that stuff, what they lacked in welding, they sure made up in gluing. So after taking everything apart, now you can really see how bowed out that thing is. And I did get my feeler gauge in there and check the material, and that tubing is only 16 gauge wall. I mean, I'm no engineer, but my God, that is just, in my opinion, way too dang thin to be driving on. And not only that, there's no horizontal support to connect all of those members together, so that way when you drive on it, you know, the weight is not being absorbed by just one piece. You know, they're all going to work together. So this is going to be a complete rebuild. So what I'm going to do now will be measure everything out, cut my material, and start making the framework. And I'm going to use 1.5 inch angle on the outside and basically copy their design, but use 3/16 thick, not 1/8 on the angle. And then on the inside members, I'm going to use 1.5 inch square tube with a 12 gauge wall, and that'll be upgrading it from this 1x2 by 16 gauge. And then I will also add in a horizontal member to help tie them all together, and that ought to solve this problem. So I'm going to get started on cutting some steel. I've got the interior square tubing cut for the interior square of the door. So I'm going to start by clamping those into place, get that nice and square, tacked together, then run around the outside with the angle that I have cut, and then I'll measure and lay in the interior square tubes for the vertical members, and then I'll piece in the center horizontal support. Clamped in my fireball squares on each corner of the square tube frame, checked square with the tape, and then proceeded to put the angle iron on the exterior of the frame. tacking everything around, lifted it up on the jacks, and now I'm going to begin to weld everything. So check square, welded in different spots, jumping all around. Now I took the frame outside just to paint the perimeter that would be exposed. Continuing on, cut the rest of the cross members and placing those and welding them in. Again, taking a lot of time to just jump around so that way you don't overheat one area and cause warpage. Now begin to put on the rest of the panel. Did the screw strip down the middle, then lifted up each corner and sprayed under construction adhesive to hold down the paneling to the interior members. Putting on the rest of the trim. There I was smushing down the construction adhesive. Cutting off the old frame, cleaning everything up. And now it's important to note that I actually did do a test fit of just the frame beforehand. And when I did this, I used the forklift to put it into play, and I kind of forgot that I wasn't going to be able to do that, so I figured out to use the jack. So that was very helpful, worked just fine. Doing some test runs up and down. Now rewiring the lights. I did all heat shrinks because before they were just little tap splices, which I did not trust those being on there since the wiring is going to be buried in between the door. Did a test fit of the plywood. Actually had to trim a little bit off to get it to fit. Snapped, lined some strings for my screws. Continue to drill in new screws. I'm putting the rubber matting back down using the hinge bolts, bolt holes as my guide, and then put carpet and vinyl glue down. Put on the rest of the trim, put down the ramp, and now putting on new weather stripping all the way around because the old stuff was not salvageable. And doing the finishing siliconing up all the cracks. Customer sent me a video of him loading up one of the Jeeps, and as you can see, everything is nice and rigid, not much deflection on the gate, if any, and it didn't turn into a banana.